is a jam right here. I'm feeling this one. I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting patiently. I appreciate you. Hi, welcome in. Today, I've got a returning guest. I love returning guests. They're so much fun. And Kangmin has been through the ringer, actually, over the past couple months. But his internet savviness has definitely been spiking. Your X account is one of my favorite X accounts to follow, I gotta say.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And thank you all for having me. Appreciate it and glad to be here, man.
Yeah, welcome back. So, wow. So you've been fired again for your conservative views.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, it's so funny because the first time I was fired was because of the vaccine mandates. And they came up with like a BS excuse about how I pose a violent threat to the company. And I'm like, dude, like I am right wing, but I'm not some huge gun toting guy. I don't I'm not really about it, but it's like, oh, you pose a violent threat because you said
he wants you to think.
But it's like, oh, you said to stand up against the vaccine mandates. You're a threat to our company. I'm like, what? I am the most unassuming, chill guy. You know, people think they see my stuff online. They're like, wow, look at this angry guy. No, I'm a chill guy. I'm a fun guy. I'm a very cordial, laid back guy. Anyways, that happened. And then, 2 months ago, I got fired from my other company. And for that it was really funny because I didn't release the whole phone call, but part of it was because I said that women who celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk were psychopaths and hags. And it was a broader point of
Where's the lie?
It's true. And it was a broader point on my post where I said, I think we should seriously consider repealing the 19th Amendment because when women are untethered from healthy masculine authority, they become psychopaths and hags who celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk. And,
again, where's the lie?
And I'm not a hateful person. I love women. I believe in chivalry, man. I love my sisters in Christ and just my fellow sisters. I love women, but oh, you hate women. You are such a bigot. And then it's so funny. Later in the phone call, I put it in the video. He said, you also think that fat people shouldn't exist.
I remember this. I listened to this call.
Dude, and
fat people shouldn't exist.
Well, I mean, yeah, I want everyone to be healthy. I don't want anyone to be obese and land whales. Like, I want everyone to live their best life. And so if that means that people should lose weight and stop being fat, so be it. But I've never called for the eradication of the fats. I don't know. It's just they come up with the most absurd things. And that's the hardest thing about being someone who's on the internet. You say one thing and they take it completely out of context and they start arguing with that position that you don't even hold. And no matter what you say, they say, no, you're lying. And I'm like, dude, I don't hate people. I don't hate anyone. I love all people. I'm a Christian. But no, you said this one politically offensive thing, this politically incorrect thing that no one's allowed to say. And, you're a hateful person. And so that's the gist. I'm done with it. You know what? I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to speak the truth no matter what. And see where it gets me.
Boom. So it didn't take very long. It was, I think you were fired on like a Monday or no, a Friday or whatever. And the very next day, I see a post from Benny Johnson saying, you're hired. I got you. So are you working for Benny Johnson now?
Yeah. So if you go onto my Twitter, you see the badge for Benny, like the Benny Show. And it's been great.
The badge.
That's
right.
So it was surreal because I made that video. I recorded that video the day I was fired. And then it took me a little while to edit and to put everything together. Plus, I was on the road. I was in Nashville. But then I was like, okay, let me release this video and let's just see where it goes. And then it went mega viral on X. All the libtards started hating on me. But, Elon Musk replied to it. Everyone was talking about it. And then Benny just he replies to me and says, hey, I want to hire you. And I'm like, whoa. Okay. And then so we talked in the DMs and then he was like, what skill sets do you have? And I'm like, I have these skill sets. He's like, all right, cool. Come on. We need someone like you. And I was like, perfect. And it's awesome. It's really flexible. He really treats his employees really well. And it's a great company and everyone loves working for him. And so he's really like the real deal. He's a great guy. So I really appreciate him. Benny's the guy. And I was just so blessed because, again, right before we went live, I was talking to you and I was telling you how after I got fired, it's my second time, and I'm like, man, like, am I ever gonna get a normal job and stay like stable in a normal job? And I was really distraught because I was like, man, like, I'm not in a good place with my finances, and I had no idea where I was gonna make money from. You know, people think that I make a lot of money on social media. I don't, unfortunately. I just don't have that business acumen. I'm not like, how do I make more money off of this? I just share my thoughts. But yeah, it was really a God
quite
thing.
often your thoughts are quite based on X. I don't know if people if you're not following him, in the description you got his links. Go do the thing. But yeah, I mean, you get a good amount of hits on a lot of your tweets. Like a lot of your posts are bangers. Not only are they going viral, but they're also bangers. Like you are rather based. You know,
Thank you,
just the way that you articulated the fact that when women are decoupled from like a masculine energy, they tend to gravitate towards, well, not only what you were saying about this liberal psychotic energy, whatever, but also like this hive mind mentality.
Yeah.
Because they want to be a part of a group, but they also want to fit in. And that's like a horrible combination when it comes to where they're gravitating, which is this liberal, suicidal empathy, you know, let's let in these violent criminals, but you know, they're not always going to be violent. They just need love. And it's just like, no, they're violent. Did you see that the European Union just released these new anti-rape like panties for women?
I saw that. It's just so absurd.
It's like, why don't you fix the problem?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like that's not gonna fix the problem.
Nope.
They're just gonna probably get murdered.
Honestly, it's so simple. Just get the people doing these crimes out of your country. That's all it takes. It's really that simple. I forgot it was I think Seamus and someone else was talking about this. I think it was yesterday, and I haven't even thought of it like this before, but when you think about a lot of these Muslim countries, right? Every man can take up to 4 wives, right? So then you think that dating pool is really bad in the West. It is bad, but it's really bad in these Muslim countries because like really the top like 1 to 10% of men get all of the women. So then there's a lot of men who don't have partners, who don't have wives, they don't have girlfriends and things like that. I don't even know if they date. But so then where do they go? Then they all hoard into and they flood into the West. And you see a lot of these migrants, they're predominantly male. And then so what happens as a result, where they come to the West and then they start preying on young girls, start preying on women. And that's the thing that no one stops and considers. It's like, wow, we are importing a bunch of disenfranchised men from the third world who couldn't get a wife or multiple wives as they dream in their home country. So they come to the West to try to find someone like that. And those are the kind of things that no one wants to talk about. We always have to say, like respect all cultures. Like F that culture, man. It's a terrible culture.
Well, and they're all of those people that we're talking about right now have zero respect for our culture.
Yeah, 100%.
For Western culture. So like, no, it's not a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'd respect their culture if they respected our culture, but they don't. They're coming here trying to imbue our our whole society with their culture, which is trash. Even the people where they're coming from don't like that culture. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, they're not welcome anywhere in the world because it's so animalistic, the way that they act.
Yeah, I ratioed this one Muslim girl on X the other day, and it was so funny. She was saying like, like the Islamophobia in the UK is getting so bad. Can I seek asylum in America? And I was like, why don't you just go back to a Muslim country if you're so proud of being Muslim? And they know too that they don't want to go back. And it's twofold. Either they don't want to go back and they know how horrendous it is to live in those kind of countries, or they do view the West as a land and a village and a home to plunder, a place to conquer, right?
Yeah.
And so they typically fall into one of these two camps. And that's why, like, because they do predominantly fall into one of these two camps, it's like, okay, just like go back. Like, you don't need to be here. You don't belong here. And assimilation, especially when you have hordes and hordes of immigrants coming in, it doesn't happen. Like, look at Dearborn, Michigan, right? Look at Minneapolis. Like, assimilation does not happen when you have hordes and hordes of immigrants. So there's literally nothing wrong with taking all those people who speak the same language as they do in their hometown. They observe the same customs, eat the same foods, do all of those things. Just hey, pack your bags. We're going to put you right back where you came from. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be the end of the world. It really won't.
No, but you said it. They're trying to conquer. A lot of these people, they're seeking asylum and they claim asylum status, and then they'll go on vacation in the homes where they're seeking asylum from. Right. I mean, and they'll go and like bring family there and visit family. And it's like, you're not seeking asylum. You're trying to create your own little bubble. So I'm in Sweden right now. Over 85% of the sexual assaults come from immigrants, and immigrants make 10% of the population here. So 10% of the population is 85% of the sexual assaults that are happening in the country. Number. Like, that's wild. Yeah. That's insane. And they're just allowing it. It's just like it's almost becoming second nature now to just allow this. And it's a norm. I was recently in one of Sweden's larger cities, and I walked into a mall, and it was just hijabs, and I didn't see any Swedes. It was weird. I was like, am I in Sweden still? Like, where am I? What is this?
It's so ridiculous. And there's that story recently in Sweden where the 16-year-old girl was raped, but then they didn't deport the guy. His name was, of course, Mohammed, because the rape didn't last long enough. It was so absurd. I almost threw my phone because I was so pissed. Like, what the hell are we doing? And it's so funny because women, right, they have literally no survival instincts whatsoever. It's like they see this going on, right? The reason why they feel unsafe in cities now is because of all of these third world migrants, and they will still vote and advocate for them to flood into the West. I don't understand. I really don't understand.
With that case, that's another example of trying to put a Band-Aid on a huge flesh wound. She was interviewed by Swedish TV and was talking about how, it took her a little bit to even come to terms with what happened. And when it was finally came out, she was like, I just hope my message helps other girls that this happens to speak up. And it's like, why aren't you advocating for what the problem was? Like, you're preparing other girls to just be able to that's what was bugging me. It's another one of those things. It's like, well, suicidal empathy again. She's 16 or she's 17 or 18 now, but it's just they're killing themselves, and just they don't want to be seen by by their peers as the first person to stand up and go, maybe we shouldn't do this. There's a fear there that they can't handle it.
And it's so absurd. And man, I watched that interview, and she was, of course, I don't speak Swedish, but I just saw the pain in her eyes, and she was clearly traumatized, as any girl would be if they're raped. Of course. I'm like, dude,
no matter how long it lasted either.
It's so ridiculous. And for me, I just want to live in a high trust society where a woman can walk around safe. If that makes me a far right extremist, so be it. I am not. And all of you guys in the chat, whoever's watching this, you are not extreme. You are not a radical. You are not insane for wanting that. Wanting safe, walkable cities where you don't have to look over your shoulder every single time to see if you're going to get jumped or not, or if you're going to get raped or attacked or assaulted. One of the greatest things that I love about Korea, and Korea has so many problems. It's not a paradise. It's right now, actually, I would say South Korea is like a capitalist hellhole. But there's one good thing about Korea is that I can walk around late at night, no matter how late it is, and I know I won't be mugged. I won't be robbed. I won't be attacked, because it's a very safe city. Most of the cities, all the cities actually in Korea are very safe, very homogenous, and there are certain things in the culture where Koreans don't do that. And law enforcement, I mean, legally, there's a lot of problems too, but overall, right, you go to Korea and you're not going to get mugged. You're not going to have some third world migrant come up to you and try to do something sketchy, And especially as a woman, like you see all these videos of these tourists, all these women who go into Korea and they're like, wow, like I can walk around late at night and nothing happens to me. This is great. I'm like, yeah, why do you think so? Look at the population, look at the demographics of Korea, look at the demographics of these Korean cities, and get back to me. Get back to me. Why
that was Sweden until 10 years ago. You know, there was this crazy uptick of immigration, and suddenly it's the rape capital of Europe. The grenade attacks have doubled 4 years in a row.
That's insane.
Double every year. Like, have you heard of grenade attacks? Yeah,
no,
Sweden. Yeah,
we shouldn't have that in the first world.
It's wild.
It is absolutely wild.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, who knows? It's I don't know the way out. I'm just doing what's best for what I can do right now. You know, I live in the middle of the woods, so I'm not really anywhere close to Stockholm, which is where a lot of this crime is. It's very much centered around Stockholm. That's like the main base. Also in Malmo, which is kind of like the place where everyone comes into Sweden. If you're on the ground, if you're flying in, you're going to Stockholm. If you're taking trains and buses and whatnot, you're going into Malmo. So those two places, that's where the no-go zones are. I don't know if you've heard of those spots here in Sweden.
I haven't, no. But
yeah, there's no-go zones where it's crime is so bad and gangs have taken over. Yeah, it's crazy.
And we don't have to allow it. It's like, it's very simple. Like, crime is a choice. And, you know, before Charlie Kirk passed away, he was actually in Korea with me. So
really?
Yeah. So a few days before he was murdered, he took an Asian tour. So he was in Korea for a few days and he went to Japan, and then he went back and they started his new college tour. And so he and I were both at the Build Up Korea conference in Korea speaking. And one of the videos that when it went viral, was that he was like walking around with the camera with his iPhone and filming this outdoor park in Korea, where they had a bunch of like plushies and couches and things like that. And everyone's just chilling, right? Everyone's just sitting and reading and like chilling and having a good time. And he's like, we can't do this in America, because if we have to do this in America, then a bunch of people are just going to wreck it, piss on it, and ruin
steal everything.
Yeah, and steal everything. And he's like, crime is a choice. Crime is a choice. And this is something that Charlie understood too. Just go to any like well-developed Asian city in Korea or in Japan or in Singapore, and you'll see that crime is a choice. Yep. Crime is a choice. And literally all you have to do is get the criminals off the street. That's why you see El Salvador is doing so great, because Nayib Bukele got the criminals off the streets. It's that simple.
Pretty easy.
But we can't do that in the West anymore, because the predominant demographic that is committing most of the crimes are these racial minorities. And it's such an unserious way to govern.
Whoa. Those are some bigot words. Wow. Well, you saw, what is this? Newsom cleaned up the streets like in 24 hours when Xi Jinping was coming. It's like all of a sudden the streets were clean, the homeless were gone, and everyone's like, why don't you do this daily? Why is this only when Xi Jinping's coming? What about American citizens?
And that's the biggest thing that especially the younger generation, like younger millennials and Gen Z, are so pissed about, because it is always putting like the priorities of other nations, our reputation to other nations, and all this bull crap over the interests, the safety and security of American citizens. Like, we are so fed up with it. Like, what it took for Newsom to do something even remotely about the crime and the drugs and the homelessness and the filth on the streets was that you had a foreign leader come. But no, not for the sake of the people in LA, not for the Californians, no, just for Xi Jinping. And this is the mentality that every single person, even most people in the GOP, have. We are going to prioritize other corporations, foreign, world leaders, foreign corporations, other, special interests. We're going to prioritize all these entities and these foreign nationals over the interests of the American people. And it is such a backwards way of governing. And you see this even with Trump today.
Let's talk about it.
With the H-1B and the 6 doubling, not just saying, hey, we're going to keep allowing all these Chinese students to come in, but doubling the amount, saying we're going to let in 600,000 Chinese students to fill up American universities. Why? Because we have to keep the black colleges going. I mean, I'm just like, what is going on? What is going on?
Or the H1B. I gotta play this video for people who Is that better?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. As soon as
what happened?
I have no clue. Like as soon as you pulled up the clip, it was just like, it was like.
Oh my God, chat's going crazy too. Yeah. Wow, there's a crazy amount of people in chat. What's happening? Everyone's leaving. Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't know. My bad.
Yeah. Wait, so what? I didn't hear anything you said because it was just like for like a whole like 2 minutes.
Why did it do that?
No clue. It like freaked out.
All right. Well, I apologize, everyone. I'm Camelot rated. Oh, word. All right. Well, thanks, Cam. I don't know if he's still here, but yeah. Chris for 5 says, "Fix the audio, you dumb boomer. Our ears are bleeding." I apologize. Read your chat more often, Adam. Look, I'm having a conversation here. It's like I'm having a good conversation. He hasn't been on the show. I haven't talked to him in a while. You think I scared him away? That's fine. All right, no worries. Look, I'm just gonna tell you guys, it doesn't matter. That video was Trump in 2016 saying that he uses the H-1Bs. He probably shouldn't. I'm paraphrasing. He probably shouldn't, but he's a businessman, so he does. And he should actually end them because they're bad for American workers and they need to end it. That's what he said. So now I'm afraid to play a different clip, but there's a clip going around today, which honestly I'm still pissed about it. So Laura Ingraham interviewed him, and he basically says, well, she asked him, I'm going to read her post. She said, if you want to raise wages for Americans, you can't flood the country with thousands of foreign workers, which makes sense. That's what Trump was referencing in that 2016 video that I tried to play for you just a moment ago. And he goes, you have to bring in talent. You can't take people off the unemployment line and say, go make missiles. And it's like, women came out from cooking in the kitchen and made missiles for World War II, right? I mean, it was just like they weren't factory workers. They didn't know what they were doing, but they were told, get in line and work for the men that are out there dying. And it's like, yeah, they made it work. But now she goes, no, he said, we got to bring in the talented people. And she's like, there's plenty of talented people in America. And he responds with, no, there isn't. Mm-hmm. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. It's like, what the hell did you just say, Trump? What? It's like he's jumping in the bandwagon of calling the MAGA base dumb. Like, that's a leftist tactic. That's something that I've heard for 5 years, ever since I came out voting for Trump in 2020. People were calling me dumb, crayon eater, like stupid idiot for voting for him. And it's like, I'll be honest, this is the first time I've actually felt that energy because of what I've just heard him say.
Yeah,
All right, what are your thoughts? Sorry, I've been ranting.
No, it's akin to Hillary Clinton calling us basket of deplorables. And
Correct.
the reason why Americans voted overwhelmingly for Trump is because it was the forgotten men and women of America who were like, hey, you finally give us a voice. You finally are the bull in the establishment, the person who's supposed to buck against the establishment, supposed to strain the swamp. You're supposed to be someone who represents us instead of the banks, instead of the stock market, instead of the big tech and all these foreign countries. And you were supposed to put us first, right? And then instead he's like, no, we don't have talent. We don't have talent. And
how can I put you first? You guys don't have any talent. It's like, what the fuck does that mean?
It's so ridiculous. Like,
what?
Facebook, Instagram, Google, Microsoft, they're all made by Americans. It's all made in America. Everything that we enjoy, even like, of course, there's Samsung and LG and all those like companies who make a lot of screens and smartphones and things like that. But the smartphone and the phone was invented where? In America. Like, it was American ingenuity that led the way for innovation and growth in the whole entire world. And to say that the ancestors and the descendants of those same people are incompetent and not talented enough, and we have to have a bunch of foreign nationals come in and flood in, it's ridiculous. And the thing is, if the H-1B visa program, which we already have the O-1 program for, high skilled, very talented people, right? But even if the H-1B visa was for highly skilled professionals, like, it's not. It's a scam. You don't need the H-1B. The H-1B is being used for convenience stores, for gas stations, and to replace American workers in tech. And all these tech jobs, they're entry-level tech jobs. They're not that hard. They're not that hard. Any American with a decent head on their shoulders and with a decent degree can go and work these jobs. And the thing is, with the plethora of information and resources out there, especially on the internet now, it's like Americans are more than capable than working these jobs. The thing is, it's not about, talent. It's not. The H-1B thing is not about talent. It's about replacing American workers for cheap labor who can effectively serve as slaves and indentured servants for these corporations. And then what happens as a result? These people start bringing their families, and then they start bringing their extended families, and they start creating these enclaves to the point where someone who lived in a town, let's say in Texas, like 15 years ago, they're like, wait, why am I the only white person that I see? And it happens so quickly. There's a chart that I saw today about Canadian immigration. And in 2020, it was like steadily increasing over the past few decades. And then 2020 just shot up. And then there's just like millions of immigrants who flood into Canada. And it's the same people. There's ethnic nepotism that happens from most of these immigrant groups. And again, you can't fault them, right? Because again, this is something that's very core to their identity. They are an immigrant. They are an Indian. They're a Chinese. That's fine. Okay. But what's going to happen as a result is that Americans will be displaced. Americans will be disenfranchised. And for Trump to come out when that's happening right now, and so many Americans are feeling the weight of that, with interest rates through the roof, inflation is through the roof, they're feeling the weight of that. They can't get a job. A lot of college students right out of college can't get a job, a good paying job. It's to say that, oh, we don't have talent and we need to hire foreign workers. Oh, yeah, we need to bring in the best students from China, saying that American universities, these American spots in American universities are reserved for foreign nationals instead of American citizens. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. It's utter betrayal of those who voted for Trump. And this crash out, it's like, so a year ago, Vivek had a crash out where he called Americans lazy and said that other cultures are better and they work harder and Americans are lazy. So unless Americans stop being lazy, yes, we're going to have to keep like hiring other workers. And then, the majority of the MAGA base hates him now because of that. He lost all his goodwill. He burned all his goodwill, except for like maybe boomers who love him. But for the energized young base of the MAGA movement, we were like, Vivek, you have shown your colors. We don't like you. But now Trump is parroting the same rhetoric. And it is so tone deaf, especially after a year of his administration. What has gotten better? Yes, immigration has slowed down. Sure. What else has gotten better in our country? Nothing, really, nothing substantial. And so this is where people are like, hey, Trump, like, you promised to do these things. You promised to release the truth about Epstein. You promised mass deportations. You promised bringing jobs back. You promised all of these things. What's really happening? Not much. And he's like, oh, no, you're just untalented. Let's just bring in a bunch of foreigners and a bunch of illegals. Like, bro, it frustrates me to no end as a Korean immigrant.
Yeah,
I'm a Korean immigrant, and if they decide to denaturalize me and send me back to Korea, fine. I have somewhere to go back to. I do.
Yeah.
I look so Korean. My name is Korean. I speak Korean. Like, I have a home to go back to. Where can Americans go to? Where can the English go to? Where can the French go to? Where can these people in the Anglosphere in the West go to when their homes are displaced? They don't have a native homeland to go to. And I want America to be America. I don't want America to look like the Middle East. I don't want America to look like South Asia. I want America to look like America. And I was in Arkansas this weekend, and it was such a breath of fresh air because I was like, wow, like, Arkansas is probably what most of America looked like for most of American history. And it was nice. And I'm just going to say it. Like, I think America should be majority white, not because I have this like, oh, I like white people and inherently better than other people, but because those are the people who founded America. Those are the people who founded America. And so once you start replacing the demographics of a country, it's now no longer that country. A nation is its people. And so once you start changing that, then it's no longer America.
It's interesting that you say that, we have this, everyone's got a place that they can go back to. So where could Americans go back to? Even in like these history books and these movies and documentaries that they're actually changing the history of Europe. Like Sweden just released this documentary about a year or two ago about like the first Swedes, and it's freaking a group of black people. And it's like,
it's the we was Kangification of everything.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like everywhere. It's like, okay, well, so where are white people from then? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't believe we all came from Africa. I think that's bullshit. I think there's a cataclysm that wiped out all of the Americas. Like everyone that was living in the Americas got wiped out. I mean, 95% of the megafauna and large creatures that lived in North America died out to whatever the cataclysm happened during the Younger Dryas. And I think that's what happened. I think that white people basically where they really were, I don't know, living for 100,000 years, got decimated, and Africa was on the other side of the planet, so it was relatively safe from that cataclysm. So we're like, oh, we all must have originated from there, and it's like that's so lazy nowadays. I don't know if you know much about that. I've dug way too deep into that ancient tech history. So
yeah, but it's just so absurd. They do that with China. They do that with Korea and Japan too. And that was the whole like controversy last year with Assassin's Creed Shadows, where they were so adamant about the first black samurai, Yasuke, and it was a complete fabrication at best. At best, he was Noah's like slave at best. And the thing is, he wasn't a samurai, but they're just this weird like almost worship-like sentiment towards certain racial groups and certain minority groups. And
it's weird.
It's really funny when you think about it in like the broad scheme of things, because white people, Europeans, are actually a global minority. They're actually a minority.
Major minority.
A major minority. But then we're supposed to believe that, we're I don't know. It's just it's so crazy that we have to give credence and like preferential treatment towards Africans and towards, these Middle Easterners and these South Asians. And we have to continuously give preferential treatment towards them when they don't do that for us. That's
true.
There's this funny video that I saw from this woman. She was like a comedian, and she was like talking in Indian accent, and she was talking about how like she's a first generation Indian in India, and she hates how discriminatory they are towards white people. And I'm gonna start raising money so I can lobby Indian politicians so that they pass anti-discriminatory laws that protect white people. And it's like when you put into that kind of perspective, you start to understand that a lot of these movements and these sentiments and these laws that are targeted towards protecting minorities are so absurd, because at the end of the day, it's not about protecting minorities. It's about subverting and supplanting the native citizenry of that country. And they only do that to Western countries. They're increasingly doing that to Eastern countries. And, you see all these people talk about how it's so Japan is so racist. Japan is so racist. Like, we need more, Middle Easterners and Arabs and blacks in Japan because it's so racist. It's such a homogenous country. It's so racist. And it's like, what the hell? Who cares? No, like Japan for the Japanese, bro. Like Korea for the Koreans. And in the same way, the UK, England for the English, France for the French, German for the Germans. And that does not make you extreme for wanting to preserve the national identity of your country.
Boom. My brother got married in August, and we were there, and he married an Albanian. And I don't know if you know much about Albanians, but they love to dance, and they're very tight-knit families. Yeah. And white also. And so my brother, he's white, so two white families getting married. And one of the groomsmen, one of my brother's best friends, he brought his girlfriend, and I guess she was like Latino. I didn't even pay attention. And it turns out she started bitching and complaining about how she was the token Latina at the wedding and was feeling very like, I don't remember what the words, feel like, I feel like just like oppressed or not oppressed. I don't remember what the word she used, which was she was complaining, and there was like not enough diversity in the wedding. And it's like, what do you, it's like, it's two families getting to like celebrating. Why are you focused on you? Why are you being so, it was really like a selfish moment. Like you're just caring about your own perspective on it. It's like, what are we going to do? Like hire some black people and, hire like, well, we need a certain demographic mixture in this crowd. It's just wild that liberal hive mind that happens to these people.
Yeah, like when they say diversity, they just mean anti-white. In the context of the West, they just mean anti-white. They they would look at things like Black Panther and be like, wow, this is the most diverse film ever. What are you talking about? It's all black people. And that's fine. Like, that's fine. If you want to have a film with all black people, go for it. Like, no one cares. Yeah. No one has a problem
Sinners
with it.
did pretty good, right? I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but
then
according to people, it was good.
They'll call those films the most diverse films. And it's like, okay, then it's just clear to us that when you say diversity, you just mean anti-white. And that's the same thing, again, they're doing in Japan, right? With anime, they're like, wow, like we need more diversity. When they say more diversity, they just mean dark-skinned characters, right? In Korean cinema, in Korean dramas, they're like, we need more diversity. And it's like, they just mean non-Koreans. So and then they'll look at
not
something
white
like,
though, not white, non-white, non-Koreans.
Exactly, and that's why they're increasingly categorizing East Asians as white adjacent, right? Because they're just literally, at the end of the day, their whole worldview is motivated by envy and jealousy and insecurity. And so that's why when you look at what countries in the world right now have built the most and have been the most influential in the world, it is the West and it is the East,
America.
Right? You think about America, you think about Europe, you think about Western and Eastern Europe, but you think about China, you think about Korea, you think about Japan, right? Everyone in the chat right now watching this stream, your screens were all probably made in Korea. LG screens or Samsung screens, right? Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Kia, right? I mean, Korea is on top of the world when it comes to cinema too, and it comes to art. Look at Japan. I mean, you can name off so many brands from Japan, so many works of art and anime and things like that, and China too. Like, and so you look at all these countries that have built something and are influential in the world and have the most impact in the world. It is the West and it is the East. And then so they are coming after us because why? Because they are insecure and they're jealous and envious and they can't build anything for themselves. So they try to take what we have already built, subvert it, and claim it for themselves. And that's behind the whole "we was kings" ideology.
Yeah, I've said this multiple times. We live in such a society that's so wonderful, and a lot of people feel so entitled. They don't realize how good we have it. And all of human history has been essentially don't get killed, make sure you make enough food so you don't starve, and make sure you don't get killed because the neighbor, your neighboring country wants to take you and take what you have. Like that's basically been all of human history. And then for a long time, I've been saying like, we don't have to deal with that anymore. And honestly, it wasn't until this conversation we're really like drudging it all up. I'm realizing that's not true. We're dealing with it still. We are, even if it's legal immigration, if it's illegal immigration, people are actually coming here and subverting the society that we know and taking over. You know, if whether it's the legal version where what you were saying, what did you say? Something nepotism,
ethnic nepotism.
Ethnic nepotism is a great word for that. And that's, they're taking over. I mean, Minnesota was a great example. Like the guy who almost won, thankfully he didn't, but he was doing his whole speech in Somalian. I don't know that. Is it Somalian? I don't know what the language is, but
I don't know either, but I think so. Yeah.
But it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's America. Or the fact that New York City now has a communist mayor, like it's wild, who's implementing the government-owned grocery stores. And it's like, oh, they're not going to have alcohol or cigarettes. But it's like, dude, this is bad. They don't understand. The people who voted for him they were, honestly, I think most people voted for him just to spite the people who voted for Trump.
Well,
that's it.
It's true, but it's also like a big FU to the establishment, because when you look at Andrew Cuomo, he is part of the establishment, and he's someone even that we as conservatives know he literally let thousands of people die with his mismanagement of COVID. And so
true.
People are like, we're fed up with
it's not just mismanagement. It's there's like the March 25th order. There's like 7 governors that essentially killed a bunch of old people just to spike the numbers. I mean, you can't convince me that wasn't the reason.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing is, Mamdani, even if he is or not like truly like an outsider, right? It's the same appeal that Trump had, where he is an outsider. The same reason why AOC became so popular is because they brand themselves as an outsider. And they want people in government.
Outsider.
Yeah, I mean, they eventually become the swamp that they say that they're going to buck against. I mean, look at Bernie Sanders.
Sucks them in.
Yeah, it sucks them in. Bernie Sanders,
Great
AOC,
example.
even Trump. Trump has become the very thing he vowed to fight against, unfortunately. Unless he corrects course. I want to be proven wrong. I do want to be proven wrong. But
I'm with you on that.
They eventually become that. And the reason why Mamdani won, well, 2 reasons. One, a lot of people were like, F you to the establishment. But the biggest reason is because of immigration. It's because of immigration. Nearly 90% of foreign-born people, foreign-born residents in New York City voted for Mamdani. And so this is, yes, maybe this is a tale about economy. Maybe this is a tale about people being really fed up with the pro-Israel sentiment that's found both on the Democrats and the Republicans. You know, people have all these theories, but at the end of the day, it really just comes down to immigration. It comes down to you are importing hordes of people, millions of people who do not know and care for your history, your heritage, your traditions, and your customs. They don't even speak your language. You see those voting booths in New York, they're in all different languages from all over the world. You import those people, they will not vote for what is in America's best interest. They won't vote for what's best for New York. They will vote for what's best for themselves as an immigrant, as a foreign national, and that's the reality of it. And the assimilation cannot happen. Assimilation is a myth. Only time assimilation works is if you have very few amount of immigrants come in and they are forced to assimilate, where they cannot live in society without assimilating. Right now, because there's so many immigrants, they don't have to. You know how many people that I've met who don't speak a lick of English, but they live fine in America? How? Because they have other Chinese people help them, other Korean people help them, other Indians help them, and they don't speak a lick of English. The amount of Hispanics I've met who don't speak English in America, yet they're working and they pay taxes and all that stuff, I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's because you can't have assimilation if you have this amount of immigrants come in all at once. And, you know, when you think about America, I think like a third of America right now is comprised of first and second generation immigrants. Like first to third generation. Sorry. So it's like,
wow,
third of America is from people whose parents or grandparents moved here. A third.
Yeah.
That is not sustainable for a country.
My great grandparents moved to America from Sweden, right? So like that's just one more step from where I'm at. Well, my father's family had been there for 300 years, so part of my family has been around for a long time. But I don't speak Swedish, and I'm a Swedish immigrant. Granted, I'm not trying to subvert the Swedish society. I actually really like it because it's very much an extension of America. I mean, they have it's their own version of the Constitution. They have free speech. They weren't even allowed to lock down during COVID because it went against their Constitution. They literally said it's up to the citizens. And like even America didn't get that much freedom. Well, actually, some states did. So, Florida did a pretty good job, but very few, right? So
it's so funny, and it's like it's also the kind of immigrants you do bring in makes a difference, right? So when
you are another example. You said you're an immigrant and you assimilated properly into America.
Yeah, and the thing is, I saw this tweet today, which was really funny. They were like, you meet a Korean who came like a few years ago, and they'll be like, "Hey, what's up? My name is Mike." You meet an Indian immigrant who like lived here their whole lives, and they're like, da, 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 da. It's like the reason why, and I don't say this to be like, oh, like Koreans are the best, but reason why a lot of Americans don't hate Korean immigrants is because they try to assimilate as much as possible. Like they adopt American or westernized names, and I did too. But I started to go by, my name, like legal name Kangmin, and my Korean name, because I just like, there's a part of me that wanted to hold on to my heritage. And I think that's a good thing for anyone to do. But at the same time, like for my whole childhood, I went by an English name. And most Koreans do. They go by an English name because why?
Does anyone still call you that?
No, I went by Joseph. But people from my like if they knew me way back then and like run into them somehow, some way, they do. But I don't go by it anymore, but if anyone wants to call me that, I think this is the first time I publicly said this, but because, if you look at my username, Kangmin J Lee, the J is for Joseph.
Okay.
Yeah. But
we got him, guys. We got Joseph.
But that's the thing, right? Koreans, they all have an English name. It was so funny. I said I was in Arkansas this weekend. I was hanging out with a lot of Koreans who came to a conference that I went to too. And it's so funny. We're all introducing ourselves to some of the people that I knew. And I was like, hey, I'm Kangmin. And then everyone else is like, hey, what's up? My name's Mike. Hey, what's up? My name's, James. Hey, what's up? My name's Lucy.
Patrick.
And
Michael.
then I was like, wait, this is so funny because these are like Koreans who came from Korea who are saying their names are their English names. And I, as a Korean American immigrant who was raised here, I'm saying my Korean name. And it's so funny. But that's the mentality that Koreans have. They come and they try to assimilate as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
Versus a lot of other ethnic groups, other immigrant groups, they don't. And also Koreans are largely Christian. So when they come to America, they also observe the predominant religion and faith that has undergirded American society for centuries, Christianity. But then, you have Indians who come here who are largely Hindu, right? So then they start setting up Hindu temples and they start speaking in Hindi or Gujarati and all these other languages. And then they don't have English names. Their names are really, really long. And they don't assimilate. So even if you want immigration, like you have to understand what kind of immigrants you're bringing in. For example, when you bring in Western European immigrants, they don't keep speaking French or German. They don't keep speaking all their native tongues. They start speaking English, even in their European accent.
They all speak English. Everyone speaks English over here.
Right.
That's what makes it so difficult for me to learn Swedish. I'm not being forced. Everybody speaks perfect English.
Right. And that's actually, if you want them to come to America, that's actually a good thing because they can assimilate quicker. Right. But it is so mind-boggling how many immigrants I've met in the States who've lived here for years who don't speak a lick of English. It is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Well, that was like a breakdown of what's happening right now, and it couldn't have been said more astutely. You're obviously paying attention, and the ability to speak it is is fantastic. You're doing such a great job with that. What are you doing for Benny? Do you have like a show or plan, or like
No, so
are you writing?
I
I'm
edit for
curious.
him.
You edit for him.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I edit some of his videos and thumbnails and do a lot of stuff for him. But
Okay.
yeah, I do a lot of things on the back end, and it's been really great, very flexible. So that's been really great. But I've been starting to kind of get my thing started. I haven't made a YouTube video yet because I've for so long like been like, hey, I'm gonna start making videos again. But then I never got started, and so I want to
Yeah.
make sure that like once I start, like I can just keep going and keep chugging along. So I'm hiring an assistant soon, and trying to build up that infrastructure so that I
Okay.
can chug out like good, high quality content, talking about what's going on in the world, and also Korea, because I want to shine light what's going on in Korea. And you know, maybe this is hypocritical for me to do as like a Korean immigrant in America, but I think what's happening in Korea is very important too, because I believe that Korea is a great ally of America and also a better ally, I think, than a lot of countries that are supposedly our greatest allies. But uh,
That shall remain so
yeah,
was there like a coup, or like the president got ousted, or
yeah.
is that
So
what? Yeah, break it down real quick, because I am curious
yeah,
actually.
so President Yoon Suk Yeol, and a lot of people like have different reasons as to why they ascribe to why he implemented martial law. But last year he implemented martial law and Koreans freaked out. And then it's like, dude, President Yoon, if you're going to do it, just go all the way. But in like 12 hours, he's like, actually, sorry, guys. It's like, what? And then so he just gives up and he gets arrested.
Wait. But what was his reasoning though for implementing it?
His reasoning was that like there's a lot of like communist forces and foreign forces and like infiltration in the government, that we have to seize control of the government and the nation so that we like weed out like foreign corruption and things like that. And that's like the gist of it.
Sounds pretty based if
I know,
it's real.
and
If
it's
he's
like,
true, if it's true.
just go
So,
full
probably
all
is.
in. If you're gonna do it, just
Yeah.
go all in. But then he, you know, he wimped out at the last second, and I get it. Like Korea is very big on reputation and image, and so I get it. But if you did it in the first place, then you just got to go all the way. But then he didn't, and he got impeached, and now he's arrested. He's in jail, and they had an election for a new president, of course. So President Yoon was part of the People's Power Party, which is the conservative party. And then, of course, because of that, Koreans hated that. So then they elected a liberal candidate, Lee
Uh-oh.
Jae-myung. So that President Lee, he's not as far left as a lot of Democrats in America, but he even today there's a video that came out that showed that he was talking to police officers in Korea and saying that we need to tackle misinformation and hate speech and racist rhetoric, right? And that's not freedom of expression, because those kind of speech, that kind of speech, misinformation, hate speech, targeting racial groups of people and minorities, that's a threat to democracy. It's the exact same playbook that Democrats use to try to silence us, right?
Yep.
And so that's why, like, right now, Koreans are like, wait, what the hell? like, I don't want my freedom of speech to be infringed upon because of these nebulous standards that we know don't exist to actually protect Korean citizens, but it's to enforce, right? Enforce the liberal standards of what they deem to be acceptable speech, but it's to crush any political opposition. And so that's what's going on in Korea right now. A lot of Koreans are not happy. His approval rating is going down pretty quickly. But yeah, like everyone's like, dude, like, what are you trying to do? Like, Korea is supposed to be like, the reason why people hated martial law because they saw that as an infringement on Korean freedoms. And then here comes this douchebag and coming in and be like, yo, we're going to infringe on your speech. You're not allowed to say anything, you know, no racist jokes, no memes, you know, no misinformation.
Wow, really?
Or else, and like that's the gist, right? I mean, it's turning into the UK, where the UK literally jails people for racist memes.
Well, maybe that's what explains this graph that you showed.
Oh, yeah.
This is Korea on the all the way left. You could see the men are swinging way conservative.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow. I mean, and this is like a pretty, like 2016, I guess is the start.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good distance away from right now, 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a swing, but wow.
it's the same reason why a lot of young white men in America feel disenfranchised. They feel the exact same way in Korea. A lot of their job opportunities, a lot of the things that they're promised were broken, and they just things suck. Things suck.
Yeah.
Wages have, stagnated, if not gone down, as the price of living has gone up. And
the profits of companies continue to go up.
Exactly, like the biggest corporations get richer and richer as the average Korean gets poorer and poorer. And like because Korea was one of the poorest countries like 50 years ago, and then they had a huge economic boom under the president Park Chung-hee, and like a lot of prosperity, all that stuff. But then now things are like, everyone's like, wait, what the hell is going on? Like, what the hell is all of this for? And Koreans, especially with the women being very feminist and then the men being very conservative, like they're not really dating. Even if they do date, they get married maybe in like 10 years. And even if they get married, they're not having children. And so a lot of the things that made life meaningful, it's not encouraged in Korean society anymore, because you think there's a generational gap right now in America between the boomers and Gen Z. Oh, it's way worse in Korea. It's way worse. Yeah. And so there's no family continuity, and it's just a lot of families are very broken in Korea, and they literally live so far apart and they barely see each other, and it's really bad. And then so a lot of men are seeing this like, wait, like all the promises of liberalism suck. Like I don't like this, but all the women are like, yes, I love my desk job. I love making money, freedom, liberation. And then at a certain point, you're like, oh,
well until they're 40, and then they're going, man, I wish I had kids, or 50.
But that's the thing. It's so funny because like young Korean men cannot find women younger or their age who want to get married and settle down. So then they marry women who are a lot older. Like this is actually a big thing in Korea right now, where a lot of men are getting married to older women because women are deciding when they're older that they finally want to settle down. And all the women in their 20s, even in their 30s, they're like, actually, I don't want to get married. And it's like
so sad.
Yeah, but then there's men in their 20s and 30s who want to get married and settle down, but then they can't find anyone. So then eventually they end up settling down and marrying a woman who's like 5-10 years older, maybe even 15 years older. Like I've seen this, and it's a big problem in Korea.
Well, and the population decline is rapidly hitting a lot of these Western countries. I was looking earlier today, actually, I was looking into it because I wanted to see where Sweden lied on the graph, and it is like down like 70 or 80 on the list. And all like the top 15, 20 countries is Sudan, Nigeria, India, like all of that whole area. And it's like all of those people are coming and taking our spots.
Exactly.
We're not having kids. Mm-hmm. And not only that, Hollywood culture, they're convincing these young women and well, not men, because some men, they're swinging conservative, but like to be anti-natalist, like, oh, you should live life for you. And it's like, I just had a child. He's almost a year and a half. He's about 14 months right now. And he's amazing. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm a better person than I ever was before because I have a goal. And I want to make his life the best I can make it. And it's like, I will never go back. I would never want to not have a child. I can't believe I waited this long, and they don't understand what it's like. And they're being taught to be selfish and take care of themselves and live this life. Oh, no, I don't need no man. I can be independent. It's like, yeah, but life is about like, I'm going to live on after I die. My son is going to and maybe have kids, hopefully have kids one day. And like, I'm going to continue to live through him. Like a lot of these people, they're being sold a lie. And this lie is turning to dust in their mouth when they're getting older. And really, Fleetwood Mac, she just had this interview. She was like, "Oh yeah, an abortion saved Fleetwood Mac." And I'm like,
I saw
that. That's not a flex. But then if you look into it, she's also in other interviews talking about her one regret in life is not having kids. And it's like, who gives a shit about Fleetwood Mac? Like, cool, you had a great band that was famous, but what are you after you die now? Nothing. Exactly. Who are you going to be with when you're old? With nobody.
Exactly. And that's a big problem in Korea too. Like a lot of old people are dying alone.
That's sad.
And it's gonna get even worse in the next coming decades. But when I was in Korea, I talked about materialism, and I gave my speech on how I believe the biggest problem in Korea, and Korea has so many problems, but the biggest problem in Korea is materialism, thinking that material possessions and gain is the highest goal in life. But it isn't.
That's not just Korea, but
yeah,
go on.
It's an infection that has infected the West, but it is so severe in Korea. That's why, parents send their kids to study until like 10, 11 p.m. when they're in elementary school so that they could get ahead, so that they can get into a good college, so that they get a good job. For what? Like, what's the end goal? And they never ask what the end goal is. The end goal is always just make a lot of money, live a good life. But like, what is the metric of living a good life? For them, it's just making money and status and reputation. But that's not the end goal. Like, for me as a Christian, I believe that the end goal is to glorify God and enjoy him forever, to know Christ. But then the second highest aim in life is to have a family, to be connected with your family community, and to pass on the gift of life. Like, this is the biggest problem that we see in the West, in the first world, broadly speaking. The reason why a lot of the leftist tropes about we're all human, we're all the same, we all bleed red. Yes, we are all human. We all have intrinsic value as human beings. Yes, but I am a Korean, right? Like, people are different. And what's going on right now is that both the left and the right are trying to brand every single person as a blank slate, that you're the same person as me. There's nothing different about us. And then so we become these rootless cosmopolitans who just go from place to place. We have no roots. We have no heritage. We have nothing to hold on to. And then as a result, why do you think people have no identity? Why do you think they struggle with their identity? Why do you think they struggle with finding aims and goals in life? Because when you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going to go to. You won't. And it's a very, very important thing for us to hold on to our heritage, to our ancestry, and to be proud of our history. But right now, what's happening is they say, shame on you, shame on your history. You have nothing to be proud of. Actually, we're all the same. There's nothing different about us. We're all just blank slates. We're all the same. And then what happens as a result? Well, people just like, okay, then what else do I have to live for? Okay, I don't really want to live for my nation because my nation sucks. It's a white supremacist, racist, sin-filled nation. Okay, I hate my nation. Okay, so what do I live for? Okay, I guess I'll just try to make a lot of money and just live for myself and just be proud of myself and pat myself on the back after a hard day's work, filling up Excel spreadsheets for a company that hates me. And that becomes the end goal in life. And then so unless we know where we come from, we don't know for what reason we live. And that's so true about our faith in terms of like, who is the originator of life? Who gave us life? It's God. But also, secondly, okay, then who were the people who carried down, right, the gift of life so that I can be alive here today? And that's your ancestry, that's your heritage, and that is, broadly speaking, your nation. So yeah.
I mean, damn. You need to make content, man. You're so on point. You have such a good, clear lens of the environment of, the situation that the West is in. It's not just Korea. This has been an epidemic for almost, I would say, like the advent of the internet. Like, once the internet because we're still trying to figure out the internet. Right? It's such a hive mind that's connecting. The human brain is not designed to be able to access everyone on the entire planet. Mm-hmm. It's almost like an overflow of information, and we've turned into this, I don't know, like the human race has turned into like a consumption mechanism. Like, that's what we need. We need to consume. Whereas before the internet, it was more of, I need to be able to create, to be seen. Like, you weren't able to actually like be noticed at all if you weren't a creator, right? And now anyone can create, and it just kind of, this is almost like meaningless. And everyone's now in the materialism and AI and commercials, and everything has gotten so good at knowing what people want. Now they carry around, a device that listens to them and it's like caters like, I know exactly what you want. I'm going to show you, and then you're going to consume more, and then you get that dopamine. And now we've spiraled. Oh man, how long has it been since that's been the case in life? 20 years? And now people are living for themselves. Birth rates are dying. It's like there needs to be a major course correction, and I don't really see how. I mean, it's wild actually where we're at.
Yeah, and it's definitely gonna be a generational thing to fix. But the two things
Which is why we need more babies.
Yes, and I always say this to people, but the two things that will save any nation right now, any nation in the first world, is one, stop immigration and deport all foreign nationals. Just deport them.
Boom.
Just stop immigration. Yeet. And then two, get married and have lots of children. Literally, you do those two things. It'll take a little bit of time, but you will completely change the nation for the better, and you'll preserve your nation. It's just very simple. You just do those two things. We can debate, libertarianism versus socialistic type economic policy. We can debate this niche theory about this topic, whatever. Fine, we can do that, whatever. But the biggest priority has to be, one, stopping immigration, stopping the demographic replacement of your people, and two, to get married and have lots of children. In Proverbs it says that children are like arrows in a quiver. And so children are the most powerful tool. And obviously, they're not just tools, but God has given us children so that we can advance goodness. And one of the best ways that you change a generation and the next generation is to love and cherish and discipline your children in the ways and the admonition of the Lord. That is the best way by far that you're going to change this culture. Because if every single person did that, every single Christian or conservative, right-leaning person did that, then we would, in 2 generations, save our country again. But for one, we need our civil magistrates. We need our government, our leaders, to stop immigration and deport all the people who don't belong in our countries. And then 2, for us to find a good wife, for men, and for wives to find a good husband that you love and you cherish, that you're attracted to, which is very important. And then you have lots of children. You love each other well and have lots of children. And that's the best way.
Wow. That was just absolutely amazing. I mean, that's it. Spread that message. That's what we got to do. I got a few super chats. I'm going to read those. I saw a few questions come in for you. Let's see here. This is from the Spec for 5. Says, unrelated question. I started listening to Stray Kids. Their outfits are somewhat questionable. They're very talented, though. Is this just a culture thing, or is it wokish / I shouldn't listen? Sorry, I don't know if you know them. You're the only based Christian Korean I know, and I trust your opinion. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so Stray Kids is a K-pop band, and they're really famous. Boy band.
Okay.
And, the thing is, it's like you look at a lot of these K-pop boy bands, and they dress them very, very effeminately, to the point where you start thinking like, okay, like, is that really masculine or not? Like, is that male attire or not? My whole thing is like, I don't think it's woke, but the thing is, there is a concern with you see this in American media too, in Western media, but it's just this androgenification of pop culture that conditions people into accepting the lies that men and women are the same, and therefore there's no difference between us. And it's really driven by like a very consumeristic mindset, because the biggest consumers of K-pop are girls, they're women. And then so once you start catering to their tastes with their kind of fashion, the fashion they kind of like, and the aesthetics they like, then you make more money. And this is a big reason why most of K-pop is in English now. When I was growing up, K-pop was all in Korean, and you'll have English sprinkled in here and there. But now it's mostly in English. And it's like, wait, this is K-pop. Why is it in English? But it's in English because why? It appeals to a broader audience. So why? They can make more money. It's really, that's why I say materialism is such a big problem in Korea, because it all just comes down to how much money can we make? How many more consumers can we grab? And the art itself is not what is important. And so when it comes to things like that with stray kids wearing things that are a little like more feminine, I would just say, yeah, that's just a broader thing, broader push in Korean media and Korean culture to appeal to a global audience and to appeal to the sensibilities and the tastes of young girls. And as a result of that, it conditions all of us, especially those who listen to K-pop, to kind of accept the false premise that men and women are the same. We can wear the same things. We can speak the same way. We can act the same way. And I just reject that. Yeah.
Oh, good answer. Jay Russ of Auburn Valley for one says, evening, Adam. MAGA ain't dead. It's just the movement needs to grow beyond Trump. I think it's been beyond Trump for a while. I distinctly remember a shift when I heard the words, "Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?" I was like,
yeah.
Did he just say that? Did he not know his base and how important the whole Epstein ring is, about how everybody knows that it's all of government as well? Like, they're all probably been to that island. Like, Trump, you just basically made all of us question you. Like, that's insane when I heard that. And then now it's just everything went downhill after that moment. That was from Liberty Lockdown, Clint Russell. I mean, shout out to him. He's awesome. That was his observation, but it's like, I think he's 100% right on that.
Yeah,
Jay Russ.
Oh, sorry. I just want to say, like, so funny because
Please.
someone like Clint Russell and like Dave Smith, they're libertarians. I'm not a libertarian by any stretch of the imagination. But what I'm seeing is like a really interesting coalition happening between like left and right, between people who are like, hey, we don't want foreign influence in our country anymore. We don't want to be held to the whims and the interests of banks and corporations and foreign interests. Like, we don't want that anymore. We want the regular person, the American citizen, to be prioritized. And so
exactly. And that's not crazy.
And there's this weird coalition happening where I'm not a libertarian, but I'm like starting to agree with libertarians. Some even like left-leaning or leftist people. Like, I am so dumbfounded that I say this right now, but Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian have a better head on their shoulders right now than a lot of mainstream conservatives when it comes to
it's pretty crazy.
A lot of these issues. And I'm like, what? Like, what is going on here? And we might differ on the methods. We might differ on how we get there. But I think ultimately what's happening right now is a breakdown between the traditional left and right, conservatives versus liberals coalitions. And it's more becoming like, do you believe that nations are just like corporations, or are nations a home? Do you believe that people should be prioritized, or just the stock market or GDP line go up be prioritized? And there's this weird, interesting divide that's happening right now where, so even with Epstein, it's like, wait, why am I aligning with liberals who are concerned about Trump's and the FBI and Kash Patel's nebulous messaging when it comes to Epstein and them not being transparent about it? Why am I aligning with liberals? And there's a lot of like these like conservatives are like, no, like trust the plan. I'm like, dude, I don't know how much longer I can trust the plan. I'm sorry. Like, he campaigned on this, and then he's literally telling his voters, he trust the plan, dude. Okay.
That.
I don't know how much
trust
longer.
The plan. What's the plan? You've never even told me what the plan is. Stupid.
So I see that happening. And so it'll be really interesting what the political landscape will be in America in 5 years.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, 2028 is going to be a very interesting year.
Yes. It's going to be very interesting.
I mean, because Trump's out. I mean, everyone keeps talking about like a third. Like, stop talking about that third, the third time in office. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to get a third term, right? I mean, I think they just say it to like piss off the left, you know. But like, DeSantis, I think, is a good front runner. I mean, obviously, JD Vance.
The problem with JD and DeSantis, and I like them, but they just don't have the charisma as Trump. I don't think anyone will have the charisma as Trump, which is why it's so important that Trump, with the political power and the charisma and the wit that he has, that he implements truly an American first agenda. Like, it's very important
But
that Trump does it, but he's not.
He's
So
he's showing us right now his true colors of what he thinks. You said it. It's a stock numbers going up. We got what's best for America isn't what's best for the American people. And like to see this King Deplorables is in chat. I know you're here. I saw you. He's been adding some good commentary to. I had a lot of posts today about this because I've been pretty pissed about it. And I said it's a betrayal, and he's like, it's not really a betrayal. This is what he's been running on, making America great again, which is making the GDP go up. Like, as you said, it's a stock, it's a corporate. He's running it like a business. And I believe that it was very clear his base said, make America great again for us. And it was like, it's not a question whether or not that's what they believed. Trump used that. And if he's actually admitting that, no, it's not about the people, it's about the country, then it's a betrayal, because it's been understood by that his base is like, you are fighting for us. Right. You're making all these decisions. He had this whole thing about H-1Bs are bad for Americans. And it's like, yeah, because they replace the jobs that should go to Americans. Exactly. And now here you are, even in that same thing. That's why people liked him. He's like, well, I use it because, it's same thing with Hillary, where she was like, oh, whatever, you want the tax. He's like, yeah, I use it. That's why I know about it. It's like, I'll admit it. Like, it's legal, but it shouldn't be because it's bad for America. And it's like, no one understood that and hadn't heard that before. But it turns out, well, he's just about the business. He's just the same politician as before.
And the thing is, like, every single society, every single country or nation is gonna have an elite class. This is just how people work, and this is how people organize themselves. Yeah. But all we ask is that the elite class not hate its own people. That's all we ask. That the elite class not look down on its own people, the peasants, if you will, the citizenry, and just to, like, actually embody what noblesse oblige, or I don't know how to pronounce it, it's French. But what that is, it's that, the elite class, the aristocrats in society would do well and serve well the people who are below them. And that's all we ask, that you don't hate us, that you do what's best in our interest because you care about us with the power and the resources that you have. But instead, what they do is to use the power and resources that they have to enrich themselves and do what's best for themselves. And that's what everyone was so fed up with. So Trump comes on the scene and he's like, I am here for the American people, the forgotten men and women of America. I will work for you. And everyone's like, yes, finally, someone who is self-funded, who is not beholden to donors and all of these corrupt corporations and these interests. We finally have a guy for us. And then at the end of the day, he became the thing that he swore he would not become. And that's why we're just like, we're so like distraught. We're like, frick, is there no one who's willing to actually advocate for the regular person? I
have yet to see it. I thought Trump was that man, but I don't know.
We'll see.
Maybe he's playing a long game. I know I saw a lot of comments where people are claiming in some sort of grand scheme, the plan, if you will. Jay Russ of Auburn Valley, for one, says our Navy trains nuclear technicians in 18 months out of high school. Exactly. I believe America's filled with talented people. I also believe America's filled with lazy people. I think there's 350 million people in America, and there's a ridiculous amount of both. Yeah. And I think that's the same with every demographic. India has 1.5 billion people. Of course, there's going to be a lot of smart people. There's going to be a shit ton of lazy people. There are people that freaking eat poop in India. I was like, okay, and let them make India great. Yeah. Let's train Americans. Let's keep these jobs for Americans. JM Denton for 10. Thank you, JM. Appreciate you. Charlie is you. Irina is your sister. The H-1B is working your replacement. The hour is very late. Facts, JM. Facts. Diana Francisco for 5 says, thank you, Adam, for bringing Kangmin back on. Such well-spoken. Great conversation. God bless you and chat. Love you. Love you too, Diana.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lord of the Ree for 2 says, hey, relaxed guy, what What are you? A woke right anti-Semitic panikin? That's
I,
our
I,
resident sarcastic man.
I just hate the whole panicking thing. I'm like, dude, like, what is wrong? There's nothing wrong with chimping out when Trump is doing something that's objectively bad for Americans and objectively a slap in the face to those who voted for him. Call me a panic and all you want. It's like, dude, like,
oh no, he was being sarcastic.
No, I know, but he's being sarcastic. But I had so many people in the replies and in my comment section saying like, you're a panikin, just trust the plan, stop panicking, I'm like, dude, like, again, I don't know how much longer I can trust this plan. Like, where are the results of the 5D chess? We were already disappointed with the first Trump administration. The second Trump administration was supposed to be something where he goes like full all in scorched earth because he's not running for re-election. Yeah, and it's like, where is that Trump? Where is that Trump? And I get it. A lot of it is he's stifled by the GOP lawmakers and Congress and the corrupt judges. I get that. But there are certain things, for example, he does not need to do nor say. Like, we need to bring in hundreds of thousands of Chinese students because our colleges will not be sustainable. Or, we need H-1Bs because America doesn't have the talent.
Insane.
I'm not trusting no plan anymore, man. I only trust God.
Based. That is a great statement to end this wonderful interview. Kangmin, that was awesome. It was great having you back and catching up, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You guys absolutely need to follow him. I have his YouTube channel and his X account as direct links in the description below. Also, his Linktree. Oh, it's not Linktree, but it's the same. I don't know what. It's the same thing. It's got all his links. Go follow this guy. This guy is super based. Obviously, he's articulate. He knows exactly what's going on, and he's going to start making videos soon.
Yes, sir.
And I look forward to that. And I'm really happy that Benny picked you up, and it couldn't have happened to a better guy. I've seen your journey. Man, it's been a few years since you've been on the show, like 3 years or so, maybe more, actually. I remember last time you were on.
I think it was 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. Okay. Yeah, you were playing what were you playing? Not Pokemon. Maybe it was Pokemon on Twitch. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I did play Pokemon Let's Go Eevee on Twitch. I'll be gaming again soon, guys. So if you guys want to tune in from some casual gaming streams, I'll also be doing that very soon. I just need, again, like just setting up infrastructure so that I don't burn out and I can be consistent. Where I just don't want to do the whole like I'm gonna make content again. Oh, I just disappear for a bit, make content again, disappear for a bit. But thankfully, because of Benny's generosity and because of having being able to work for him, he's flexible so that I can work on my own content and my own brand during the week. And so it's really great. God is so good, and I can't wait to just keep doing and chugging along.
Yeah, I my mom recently gave me my Bible from when I was a child, and I hadn't read it, and I picked it up a few times, but I picked it up yesterday, and I opened it up, and my friend suggested that that's what I do. Maybe because it is kind of hard to read, and I don't really know where to start. But regardless, though, I picked it up, I opened it, and I just read 2 lines, and it I'm paraphrasing, but it basically said, God takes care of those who worship him. And I just sat there and I opened to that and I read that. And I've been going through a lot of inner searching, lately. And I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't know where I'm going, but I feel like I'm surrounding myself with people of like mind, and it's interesting that I knew you were religious, but you really are putting it in the forefront, and I see how important it is. I was raised in church. My grandparents took me to church every Sunday, and I had this Bible from it's sitting right here, and from Bible study, so, and I'm working on the family, so I've gotten it going. So anyway, it was great to meet you, or it was great to see you again, man. It was great to have you on. So thank you very much. Yeah.
And, thanks for having me.
You're always welcome.
Thank you, man. And I just want to end on this note, just that, you know, the word of God promises that when we seek, we will find, and when we draw near to God, he will draw near to us. And so
Hmm.
God doesn't promise us an easy life. He doesn't promise us riches and things, but through the hardships and through the pain and through the suffering and the turmoil and tribulations, God promises us peace, and he promises that he will always be there for you and with you. And that's the greatest, you know, source of strength and refuge that I've had, knowing that no matter what happens in life, like God is with me and God is for me. And that promise is for you too, Adam. So I just want to encourage you there, and everyone else in chat too, that, you know, God loves you. He sent his one and only son to die for you, and he seeks a genuine relationship with you so that you can have true freedom and true life in God.
Thank you. And
Absolutely.
we'll end with this here. The spec for 5 says Kangmin is always on point. I agree. I have the same feeling on Trump right now. Have a good one, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank
that
you
was
all.
it's a great chat. Thank you very much, everybody. And I will be back, of course, this Friday for the last show for a week, because next week I'm going to Egypt. I leave on Monday for Egypt. I get back on Monday also, and I think I get back kind of late. I might not go live for Base Staff that Monday, but I should be able to go live. But next week, no show, no Forbidden Frontier either this Sunday, because we're going to be they're traveling like 16-hour flights or something. Me, it's only a 4-hour flight, same time zone, so it's easy for me. But either way, I'll be here Friday. I got my loop station set up. I got a new microphone that I've got a whole system. It's pretty cool. So we're going to be playing with the loop station finally, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, thanks guys, and I'll see you all next time.